Good afternoon, everyone. Can you all hear me? Thanks for joining us. Over 200 people have registered for the seminar, so we expect some latecomers. My name is Tripti Singh. I am the director of the National Center of Timber Durability and Design Life. Before we start, we would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land upon which we live and pay respect to the elders past, present, and future. As I mentioned, at the National Center for Timber Durability and Design Life, we do research and development in timber durability, timber circularity, and other aspects of timber and wood product. So today's session is going to be recorded. Some people have requested because they are not able to attend, so they have requested for recording to be distributed. So we will be recording for future reference. Also, at the end of the seminar, we will ask you to fill a short survey to collect your feedback that can be incorporated in the program later. In today's content, we will give you a brief background about the project and the task that it involves, our Timber Circularity Project. And then Penny will walk through the geospatial mapping, which is the main purpose of this seminar today. And Martin will use some of the case study using this geospatial map. And then Penny will conclude with the information and output. And we invite all sorts of questions, discussion in the chat box and at the end of the session. And as I mentioned, we will have a short survey at the end of the program too. So I would like to introduce the project team, Dr. Penny Mitchell, who is the project lead for this project. Dr. Martin Stangard, who is the Senior Research Fellow with us. Dr. Melanie Harris, she has been helping us in data collection and mapping. Karen Hansen from Locatable Solution, our geospatial specialist, who has created our vision, and I'm overseeing this project. At the National Center of Timber Durability and Design Life, it has been an initiative by the FWPA, Forest and Wood Product Australia, and it's a partnership between the University of Sunshine Coast, Queensland Department of Primary Industry, and University of Queensland. Our mission is to be a primary authority in Australia and as a global leader in research related to timber durability and design life, including the reuse and recycling of timber and wood product. We work on 4 main themes, and along with training the next generation of researchers, one of our key goals is to improve educational outreach with industry. And by doing so, we believe we can significantly enhance the visibility and impact of our work. And this webinar is a small attempt towards that. Australian circular economy, the government had set several targets and initiatives to move towards a more circular economy by 2030. Government Commission report has shown that the circular economy model for Australia could generate over 1.8 billion in direct economic benefit over 20 years. And it's not only the economic benefit, it has huge in environmental and sustainable benefit as well. For example, it could save 165 million tons of CO2 per year by 2040. So it is a significant issue. However, the current reality is that many million tons of timber resources are wasted annually in Australia. And the irony is that the timber is the ultimate renewable resource. We need to cascade it through multiple life cycles. We need to really think through the waste hierarchy. But the reality is that currently about 60% of timber resources is going to landfill, and the rest is predominantly burned for energy. And one can argue that a piece of timber could have up to 4 to 5 lives very easily before it goes to landfill or burned for energy. So we really want to circulate the timber into the circular economy and use it for high-end products. We have a comprehensive program at the center where we are trying to aim to assist the timber user in identifying suitable pathways for repurposing treated timber and engineered wood product. We are focusing on some of the difficult timber product and like CCA treated timber or engineered wood product, and they are difficult because of the presence of preservative and glue. So the aim is to identify and implement strategies and solutions to keep the wood fiber in the supply chain within the circular economy. And we are very lucky to have our collaborators and funders across the supply chain. Industry association such as Forest and Wood Product Australia, Australian Forest Product Association, some of the treatment and glue companies, some of the manufacturing companies and their members, such as Forest FTMA, Frame and Truss Manufacturing Association of Australia, Engineered Wood Product of Australasia, as well as some of the users, for example, Wine Australia, whose member growers currently have a huge issue with end-of-life CCA treated post. Within the project, there are 7 tasks. We are looking the amount of waste stream and where they are located, what condition those resources are, do they need to be repurposed or can they be reprocessed? We're looking the regulatory hurdle, which is a major issue in any resource circularity. We are investigating the options and exemptions that may be required for timber circularity. Logistics is another big issue in Australia due to our vast geographical location. So modeling the logistics and understanding cost involved is required to determine appropriate solution in various regions. We are also investigating the reuse and recycling opportunity, what is currently available and what is in development. And all of these information we are trying and have tried to map in this geospatial map, which is the main topic of today's webinar. And at the end of this 3-year program, we want to demonstrate some pilot where the actual reuse and recycling of these can be implemented. We have mapped the various solutions in treated timber and engineered wood product, keeping in mind the waste hierarchy. Such as the CCA treated timber post repair or reuse, or frame and truss offcut to be recycled and reused. So the goal is to avoid resource going to the landfill. To better understand the hierarchy and how it relates to the solution, we have developed a matrix and mapped against the hierarchy with the range of the issue, including what is currently available, where the location of those resources are, what organization, for example, is taking what sort of timber, and other issues like technical issues, scalability, and the regulations. And all of those we have tried to map on this geospatial map. So the purpose of this map is that this map provides a critical link between the unused resources and potential solutions. These various icons in the map identify timber resources, solution provider, and infrastructure. The benefit of this map is that it provides detail on resources by volume, type, treatment type, etc. And the ultimate goal is to add the timber circular economy. So without a further ado, I will pass on to Penny, who will take you through the map. Thank you.
Thanks, Tripti. Is everybody seeing the map? Yes. Thanks everyone for attending. We're extremely excited about the number of people that have registered. This is our map, which I'm actually accessing online. And as Tripti mentioned, it combines information collated from all of our project tasks. So the volumes, obviously the geographic locations, the condition of resource, regulations, logistics, and potential solutions. I'm going to walk you through the map just to show you some of the features and how the map can be used, but it is actually live, so you can access it and explore it more fully if you would like to do so. So down the left-hand side here, you'll see resources and solutions with their icon descriptors to hopefully make it a little bit easier to pinpoint those on the map. We've also got some existing infrastructure such as licensed landfill and transfer stations that actually accept treated timber and engineered wood products, and also councils with circular economy and zero waste initiatives. When you first log on to the map, everything is included by default, but if you are only interested in a particular resource, you can turn off all the layers that you're not interested in. So this icon up here shows the layers, so you can go through and either turn them off in bulk, or we can go to specific resources, for example, and just look at the ones that you actually are interested in. For example, if you're interested in frame and truss, we can turn off everything else and just have the frame and truss plus solutions. I'm going to turn them all back on so we can actually explore the map a bit more, but that does make it a little bit easier if you're searching for something in particular. And if you need to pinpoint something in particular, it's really easy to scroll in and out using your mouse, or also the buttons down here in the corner. You can zoom in or out using those. To move around the map, you can actually just click on it, hold it, and drag it if you do want to zoom in somewhere in particular. To get back to the main map, if you get a bit lost, you can just click that home icon down in the corner down here, and you'll get back to the main map again. Another way to get to your desired location is there's a box up here where it says find address or place, so we can actually type in an address and go straight to a particular location. Once in the location, it's a little bit easier to see those icons, and all of the icons are clickable and they do present pop-up information. So this information, for example, relates to a solution, and the type of information we're currently presenting for solutions besides the facility details includes the timber type accepted. So as you see here, this facility is licensed to accept construction and demolition wood resource. CCA treated timber must not be purposefully added and must remain under 5% of the input. So those types of information are given in the solution under the solutions icons. We also have some regulatory information, and we generally add to most things assumptions and notes just to give you further detail. We can click out of those boxes by just closing them up there. I will zoom out to show you a few more icons. So if we have a look at, if we want to have a look at vineyards, for example, we can click on a vineyard icon. And the type of information that we've collected has actually come from a Wine Australia survey, from which we've determined some volumes and weights, as well as an estimated number of posts that are removed from that region annually. Most posts are removed from vineyards due to breakage at the base during harvesting, so there is still opportunity to reuse or recycle those posts. I'll also show you the type of information for frame and truss. So the frame and truss facilities have data including the type, the size of the facility, which is based on employee numbers, so small, medium, large and extra large. This particular example shows a small facility which has around 6 metres cubed of waste per month. That's an average that we've taken across Australia for all small facilities. So it might not be that this particular facility has that exact amount. It could be more or less. But it is an average across Australia. It was all of this information was collected through a survey of the frame and truss facilities in 2024. So we do put that in our assumptions, and all of the details are actually included in reports as well, linked on the Timber Circularity Project page. The resource type here, in this case, is sawdust and timber and LVL offcuts, and would generally be clean and uncontaminated. We've also put a percentage treated. This is based on state averages because there's a great difference by state. For example, pretty much 0% is treated in Tasmania, whereas 100% is treated in Northern Territory. So this one in South Australia, we've basically said that 34% in South Australia is the average treated. We've also shown the type of treatment used as well. Again, assumptions and notes just help you understand without having to go back to the reports every time you want to understand what sort of information and where we've got it from. I might just zoom out again and show you some engineered wood products. I'm zooming in here because there just happens to be 3 in close proximity. So we've mapped the engineered wood products for both resources and solutions, as they often use offcuts and sawdust for energy production. We include here the products produced, as well as any assumptions and regulations as discussed before, and what solution type there may be. At this point, the solution might only be relevant to the actual facility. They might just reuse their own or use their own offcuts, but we've still mapped that as a solution. We've also started to map councils, and I'm just going to quickly zoom out to locate one. So I'll choose this one here. The councils are, the councils are orange. This one's Shoalhaven Council. All of the councils we've mapped have economic strategies built into their sustainability or waste management action plan. Shoalhaven Council, as you can see, is part of the Illawarra Shoalhaven Joint Organisation. So they actually have very specific goals to divert 90% of their waste from landfill. So all of the councils we map do have that type of information, and you can find more obviously on their particular websites. In terms of licensed landfills, I'll zoom in again to Adelaide because we have a few here. So the colours are similar. transfer stations are little trucks, and the landfills are these icons. If you click on it, we do give some minimum costs per tonne. Realistically, the reason that we've mapped these is not so we're going to be using landfills or recommend it, but because these places are licensed, there is potential for them to become resource recovery facilities or, again, transfer stations that can collect and store and move the resources to the particular solutions that can take them in the future. So that's all the icons, but we have also got some other built-in features to help with the timber circular economy. This tool here can actually help you find resources in particular locations and also solutions near to where you are, for example. So if I was a solutions provider, for example, and I needed some frame and truss offcuts to go into my production of particle board or glulam, I can put a point where my facility is. I can mark that on the map, and it will bring up all of those facilities within a 100-kilometre radius. We can, the 100 kilometres is the default. We can actually change that to any particular location that we want. And you'll see here that we can access some information as well. So immediately we get the closest facility and what size they are. We can click on here to bring up the specifics, but a much better way, if you do want to have a bit more of a dive into it, we can go to this icon here, which allows you to download all of this information into a spreadsheet and then sort based on the closeness, the proximity to where you are, or the size of the facility. If you only wanted to access larger amounts of resource, then that particular feature will help you. You can also, if you're already mapped as a solution provider, you can just go to your own icon and use this actions button to again find the resources near you that you would like. So that's just a quick rundown of the map. We really do ask that if anybody does have any specific data that they want added to the map, they can go to this contact button here, and it will lead you straight to an email, and you can email us through any details. Feedback would be absolutely fantastic. We, as Tripti mentioned, we do have a short survey at the end of the session, so that will really help with further development of the map. But now I'm going to hand over to Martin, who's going to run through a couple of case studies that we've been working on and look at how the map can really help with those logistics and regulations. Thank you.
Okay, can you see that screen? Thank you. As Penny just said, I'm going to run through the case studies, and we're looking at two case studies today. The CCA treated timber post reuse as agricultural fence posts, and using frame and truss offcuts recycled into glulam beams. We're keeping the focus on the top levels of the resource hierarchy in order to highlight possibilities for moving forward with a circular economy in Australia. So for each of the case studies, I'll be giving a bit of a background, some of the considerations for reuse and recycling, including logistics and regulations, and I'll be showing the use of the map as a circular economy tool. First, a bit of an overview of the regulations relevant to end-of-life treated timber and engineered wood products. These regulations are set and enforced in Australia at a state level. And while all the states in Australia are moving to a circular economy, landfill is the major option currently for end-of-life treated timber and engineered wood products. Regulations for reusing or recycling end-of-life treated timber and engineered wood products can differ markedly between states. So what we'd like to see is common regulations across Australia to facilitate and encourage reuse and recycling of end-of-life treated timber and engineered wood products. Bit of an overview of the logistics. As Tripti mentioned, Australia's a large country, and so logistics are an important consideration in the costs of undertaking any reuse or recycling activity. Definition: the process of planning and executing the efficient transportation and storage of goods from the point of origin to the point of consumption. Some key drivers of logistics costs include transport distance, the quantity to be transported, and storage. If you look at the top right of this slide, you'll see what I've done is predicted some of the costs of transport costs of various size trucks. PRT stands for pocket road train, which is a truck commonly used in the forest industry in Western Australia, which has a 50-tonne load capacity. The hook lift truck in my example has a 10-tonne load capacity. And you can see over to the left of the graph, when distances are small, it doesn't make a lot of difference what type of truck that you're using. But as the distance goes out to 165 over to the right, you're looking at the cost per tonne for your hook lift truck going up to $25, whereas your pocket road train is at $7.50. Of course, you're only going to use the pocket road train if you've got a lot to move, because it's a 50-tonne capacity. Storage, I've identified 3 possible storage options there. No storage, you've probably heard of the term just in time, where items are delivered just in time for them to be used. In our situation, we're looking at some sort of storage at the producer of end-of-life treated timber or engineered wood products. And you can see in the picture to the right there, King Truss, that's a 70 metre cubed skip bin that they use at their facility. Stockpiling is another issue. You can see there, I've got a picture of repost, and I'll be talking about them in a bit more detail in subsequent slides. But that's a stockpile of their posts that have been converted from vineyard posts into fence posts, ready to be delivered. The key element with stockpiling is, of course, reducing it as much as possible in order to reduce the associated costs. So first case study is post-reuse. As mentioned by both Tripti and Penny, there's vineyard posts which we're proposing to be reused as agricultural fencing. And Penny also mentioned that the posts are broken off at ground level. And you can see in that photo there from Repost New Zealand, a classic example of what happens during mechanical harvesting. The post is where it's rotted through it, the ground is broken off. But you can see the rest of the post there is still in pretty good nick. Wine industry in Australia, we estimate they produce about 3.4 million posts, broken posts each year, which is over 30,000 tonnes. Currently, as we've mentioned, those posts can only be disposed of in licensed landfills. And the issues with those are there's limited landfills which are licensed to accept CCA treated timber. It can cost hundreds of dollars a tonne to deliver it to those landfills. And from the point of view of the vineyards, it can be also hundreds of kilometres between the vineyard and the nearest licensed landfill. What's happened is this has resulted in stockpiling of posts on vineyards. And you can see an example of it there, where the vineyard has stockpiled their posts waiting for a solution. We estimate there's about 27 million posts stockpiled Australia-wide currently. So what we're proposing, and this is, as Tripti mentioned, we're looking at a pilot project, and the pilot project is what we've termed a repost style reuse of posts. As I alluded to before, there is an organisation called Repost in New Zealand, and they currently have a successful business taking those posts and converting them into agricultural fences. They deliver them directly to the farmers, as well as selling them through Mitre 10 stores. If we look at the map here, as you'll recognise that from what Penny was just showing you, what I've done there is highlighted one of the zones. The winery information is divided up into state, zone and regional levels. And you can see there's a summary there of what the totals are for that Lower Murray zone. One of the issues, as we've mentioned, is that there are very few facilities, except CCA treated timber. In South Australia, there are 3. And one of those, the Renmark transfer station, which is in that Lower Murray wine zone, will only let you drop off 50 posts at a time, which if you're producing thousands of end-of-life posts a year, that's going to be a very slow process. So 5 regions in South Australia account for nearly 60% of the post removals. So what are the regulations pertaining to post reuse in South Australia? And I should note that these need to be confirmed with the EPA. My reading the regulations is that if you had no storage, you'd fit into the description there. Waste is declared not to be waste if it constitutes a material that's ready and intended for imminent use without the need for further treatment to prevent any environmental harm. If you had storage, like in that repost example that I showed you, you'd have to apply for a resource recovery approval. Other regulatory issues that apply, stockpiles have to be maintained in accordance with South Australian EPA guidelines. And also the business wouldn't be able to take in vineyard posts from interstate because of biosecurity concerns. So this is my case study. I selected various locations on the map in South Australia, looking for one where I felt was a suitable place to set up my hypothetical repost style operation. And I've settled on Murray Bridge, and I've got a circle there, 100-kilometre radius, highlighting the vineyards that are close to Murray Bridge. And it takes in all of those vineyards around Adelaide to the north and south and nearer in the Adelaide Hills. I also felt there's potentially cheaper land closer to Adelaide. Murray Bridge sits on some major highways, so it's got good road connections, reducing your logistics costs. And I did a Google Street View flyby. You can see down the bottom right there, and you can see that that's a typical fence from what I saw, and it uses treated timber posts. So I felt that my hypothetical business would have a potential for a good outlet for the product. What I did was, as Penny showed you, I've dropped down list there of all of the vineyards. I also downloaded the data for the yearly post-production for each of those vineyards. And I used that to work out approximate cost of delivering the posts from each of those areas to my hypothetical Murray Bridge repost operation. This is, I should say, this is the delivered cost of a post that's been not processed in any way. It's just picking it up at the vineyard, putting it on a truck and dropping it off at Murray Bridge. And I came up with an average cost of $20.60 a tonne, which works out to about 18 cents a post. So that was the reuse of posts, and now on to the second case study, which is recycling the offcuts into glulam beams. This is an operation which is currently happening at Megabeam in Queensland. What they do is they collect Framatros offcuts as backloads. So a backload is they take out their beams, deliver them to customers, and on the way back to Megabeam, they pick up Framatros offcuts. Currently, about 10% of the wood that they use in making their beams is these frame and truss offcuts. They get them for free. Obviously, they've got the cost of transport, but it's a win-win for the frame and truss companies because they don't have to pay to dispose of those offcuts. Megabeam have said they'd like to increase the amount of offcuts that they include. So I did a similar sort of study on using the map. Just one of the things I should say before launching into the map. As Penny said, we did a survey of the frame and truss facilities, and as part of that, we looked at their monthly output, and you can see that little section there on the slide where I show the size of the each facility and the average monthly output by size. So what I did was similarly to the previous case study, I put a dot on Caloundra, which is where Megabeam are, and I put a 100-kilometre radius. The point of 100-kilometre radius was because I knew there were a lot of frame and truss facilities around Brisbane, and I thought, well, if the Megabeam want to increase their supply, maybe they should look at the facilities near Brisbane. So similarly to the previous case study, I downloaded the data using those the distances and those average monthly productions of offcuts that were on the previous slide. And what I did in the study was I excluded small facilities. Basically, they were only producing 6 cubic meters a month, and I didn't feel it was worth including them in Megabeam's. I thought they'd get better bang for their buck going to a larger facility, basically. You can see I've got a medium facilities have a 31 cubic meter skip bin, and the large facilities, the 70 meter cubic skip bin, which you saw on the previous slide. The reason for that was, as we saw, there's a huge difference if you can use a bigger truck in terms of your transport costs. So the large facilities could more readily fill a larger bin than the medium facilities. Another consideration with excluding small facilities was that Megabeam need to have the resources dry, and most of the frame and truss facilities are unlikely to have undercover storage for their offcuts. So the idea was use a bin that the facility is likely to fill in a reasonable period of time, so the wood was not likely to get wet. So I divided up the results within 50 kilometres of Megabeam and within 50 to 100 kilometres of Megabeam. So 0 to 50, I estimated there's about 26 tonnes a month of offcuts available. And because that's quite close to Megabeam, the delivered cost was only $7.60 a tonne. I should say this is not backloaded. This is just assuming they're sending a truck out and picking up the offcuts. If you then go 50 to 100 kilometres of Megabeam, you get more than or almost double the weight of offcuts, but you see the average delivered cost is more than doubled. This is because you're now travelling down to Brisbane. So this would, of course, just be a starting point for Megabeam, and then they could dive deeper into the detail to work out what their cost of delivery is, maybe for individual frame and truss facilities. What are the regulations? Queensland have a process called end of waste codes, and there's one specifically for chemical treated solid timber, includes all sort of chemical treatments, and it allows for their reuse of that timber in engineered wood products. So under that end of waste code, Megabeam is completely able to operate. Theoretically, they could use CCA treated timber in that, but they're currently not doing so. South Australia, I feel that it's likely that they would allow this recycling option under the same rules as listed for the CCA treated vineyard posts above. Of course, this would need to be checked with the EPA. That's it for the case studies. Now I'm going to be handing back to Penny to show you through the Timber Circularity website and wrap up the process. Thank you.
Thanks, Martin. Everybody see my slides? So just to finish up, I'd like to show you some screen grabs of our accompanying Timber Circularity website. This links all the information that we've discussed today, as well as the map. The site can be accessed through the timbercircularity.com.au web address shown here, and is currently hosted by the University of the Sunshine Coast. So the website really acts as an addendum to the geospatial map, and it provides an overview of the project, including the project background, map details, including the site navigation and resource map, and also all of the resources that we're focusing on. The site is really interactive, and anything that's underlined is clickable with links straight to other relevant sites, reports that we've completed, or any other information that's relevant. This is the University Timber Circularity Project page, from which you can actually directly access this Timber Circularity website, as well as the map. The map can be accessed within the website, and it functions within the website, but it is actually easier to click on this icon up in the corner to open the map in a new tab. You will need to complete a disclaimer before you do access and use the map. You're given a lot of information about site navigation and a map user guide, which is included. Hopefully these things will help make it easier to use. The icon descriptors are provided as well, so you can become familiar with that. We do have a map user guide button. All similar style buttons to this are clickable, and there's supporting information that opens up in new tabs. The information can be scrolled through or the menu bar at the top there can be used to skip straight to anything that you're interested in. In terms of the resources, we're providing information about the industry, any unused resources being produced by them, the type of treatment used, and we probably really are trying to make it clear that there is a distinction between different resource types. You might have gathered that from Martin's regulatory discussion, because not all treated timber and engineered wood products will have the same future applications. So CCA treated timber, for example, contains heavy metals, which are really hard to extract at this point, while H2F treatment used for frame and truss, which is more similar to fly spray, will have more uses, and also the solutions will inevitably be not only resource but also region specific. We've also got information about data sets used and how the data was collected, any results from surveys and case studies around the logistics and regulations, as well as all of our outputs. So some of the current outputs, we've done quite a number of reports, which include case studies, volume reports, regulatory reports, a whole range of things that support, will hopefully support reuse in the future. We've also been involved with lots of outreach opportunities. So we've engaged with international organisations who have emerging solutions for timber resources. We've shared research with our international counterparts. We've conducted webinars, been engaging with industry, and obviously presenting case studies. And obviously one of our main outputs is the geospatial map. For the remaining year of the project, we'll be continuing to update the map based on any feedback we receive and any new data that we collect and analyse. We've recently undertaken a survey with users of engineered wood products, so kitchen manufacturers and shop fitters, for example, which will provide another level of available resource as well. We'll also be publishing regulatory details based on state information and the list of frequently asked questions, as well as our solutions matrix and report. One of the main outputs from the project, as Tripti mentioned, will be a pilot project for CCA treated timber vineyard posts, which we are currently working towards undertaking in the middle of the year. We'll hold further webinars, workshops, and be presenting at conferences as well. So pretty much we're fairly busy on the project. So finally, just on behalf of all of us on the Timber Circularity Project, I'd just like to say thank you for your interest and support in this webinar, and we hope that you found the session of use, and even more so, we hope you find the map useful. We really appreciate your attendance and would absolutely love if you could provide feedback using this QR code. I think Mel's put the link in the chat box as well. It's a very short survey. It would probably take a couple of minutes, but you can also contact us with any other feedback, obviously using the Timber Circularity email address, or just go straight to the contact button on the map. So thank you again. What we're going to do now is open the floor for questions.
Thanks, Penny and Martin. Yeah, we are happy to take any question. If there was any question in the chat box, we are happy to address. Mel?
Yes, we do have some questions.
Yep.
The first question. Sorry. So Craig, it was not. Do any people realise that most LVL is H2 glue line treated? That was from Craig K. At the beginning of the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We are aware of that, that it does have a treatment and glue line treatment. So yeah.
Second question. Yeah, the second question was from Steph. Is there another way? For others to reach out if you're not registered? I did send some information and some links to all our contact details, so hopefully Steph got those. Yeah. Third question was from Joe. Sorry, that has actually been answered by Karen, but it may be of useful information to other people. So I'm not sure if Karen's wanting to share that information. Karen, are you available to speak? So Joe's question was, what is the coordinate system used for the geospatial data included when exported to a spreadsheet? And her reply is, I'm not sure if Karen's available. Yeah, okay. He said about the. So Karen's reply was the coordinate system is GDA 2020 geographic, but it's under development, so it's very dynamic. And if anyone wanted to use the geographic data for GIS, they may be able to arrange it through the web feature service, but that's yet to be determined. So if anyone wants that type of, or more information about that, they can send an email. I put our email address in the chat as well a couple of times through. Yeah. Well,
Karen's mic is muted, so if you can unmute her.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I have tried to do it. I've gone back into the settings, but it doesn't seem to be.
We can.
Oh,
okay, that's fine. You have answered the question. Any other question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Xavier asked how often we were planning on updating this database.
Okay, I mean, currently it's a living document, so we are updating. So as Penny mentioned that if anyone have any information they want to include it, or if there is anything missing, do contact us. We will be updating. This program currently is for 3 years. We are just over 1.5 years. yeah, it will be updated very, very regularly. And we trying to make provision, and we'll be asking funders to fund further after 3 years as well. So it can be updated more frequently.
Now, so everyone can open the mute.
Yes, I've just fixed it so if anyone wants to actually turn on and off their microphone to ask a physical question, they can. Karen, so you should be able to speak now. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Yeah, I was going to say that as it is geographic data, so geospatial data, it could be that in a future development could be that users could place their actual facilities on the map with relevant attribute information that was seen in those pop-ups in the future as well.
There is a thanks, Karen. There someone has put their hand up. Tim.
Yeah, just I put it on the chat, but I'm not sure if I saw an answer. I had to jump off a couple of times because of network issues. But are you going to email out the? Can you email out the PowerPoint presentation?
We will be sending whole presentation, whole of this seminar. Actually, it's recorded.
But the seminar is good. But what about the PowerPoint itself? Is actually excellent as well.
Yeah, we can share that.
That'd be great. Thanks.
Sorry, we have another question
From Nicole.
From Nicole. How will the resource map be kept up to date? How can new facilities and information be included?
We're hoping that industry will work with us to facilitate that. For example, Frame and Truss are now in their regular surveys of their members will be asking 2 questions for us, and they do their surveys regularly. So hopefully we can use those types of initiatives to keep it updated, because it will only be valuable if we can do that.
So there is all the intention are that it should be treated as an industry resource and a living document, because things change every day, and it's everyone's responsibility to provide those information to us so it can be updated.
There was another question from Vaughan. Is there a sensitivity analysis with the various data elements?
So we have, for whatever information we have provided, we have given the limitations and the assumptions. So if there is a sensitive information, we have not tried to put it there. And if it's there, it's with the assumption. Is that right, Penny? That
Yes.
would be.
Yeah. And Martin's done quite a few sensitivity analysis as well. So we're trying to make it as transparent as possible with all of the assumptions and those things provided as well.
Yeah, actually we have sorry, I hope that answered your question, Vaughan. We have a question from Martin as well. Gary asked that you mentioned that Megabeam was only using 10% of recycled wood in their products, but plan to use more. What are the reasons for restricting such a low percentage at present?
I don't know if you are a better place to answer this, Penny or Tripti, because you're into the facility.
Yeah, I can probably answer that. So there's a couple of things. At the moment, the finger joining is quite costly, so moving towards faster machinery, also facility sizes. So there's quite a few things, and obviously at the moment it's very cost effective to backload, but as Martin pointed out, they might need to go further afield to collect more resources. So it's not just one thing that they're thinking about. There is quite a few different different things to work through to get to that point.
And another comment and question from Clarissa. She said, congratulations, great resource. She's just asking who we see will predominantly be using this resource in the future.
Oh. First of all, anyone who wants to utilize this resource and have in the secondary product, they would be that we believe this will be extremely useful information. And since we have got the council information, some of the regulatory assumptions and information, this would be quite useful for anyone wanting circularity, timber circularity, or wanting to know where the resources are, where the facilities are, which facility is using what sort of product. All those information is there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there one more question? Sorry.
It's all right. Just a question about the update.
Yeah. We did have a question about how we're going to, from Rob, how it was going to be updated. He also asked how new facilities and information can be included. So any information or if we have mapped generic information, we're more than happy to put more details into your facility pop-up box. If you just send an email to our Timber Circularity website, I can put that in the chat again if you like. But otherwise, we haven't got any more questions at the moment. Does anyone else have any questions? I have about 3 more minutes.
It's like not. Yes, Ellen.
Hello, hi. Thank you
Hi.
so much. It's really informative and a great resource. Just maybe a quick comment. I'm based down in Lismore, and I'm doing a PhD looking into working with some of the disaster flood affected timber from the 2022 floods. And part of that is looking into the regulations broadly around construction and demolition waste. I just wanted to maybe engage a bit more conversation about about your process and your research into that aspect, please.
Yeah, very, very important aspect of your PhD work. Yes, we will be very happy to work and collaborate with you.
So construction and demolition waste is a little bit outside our remit at the moment, but by the nature of what's coming in for construction and demolition waste, we have actually touched on it and been in touch with quite a few industry players in construction and demolition who have absolutely massive stockpiles of timber that is not able to be sorted or not easily sorted at this point in time. And we've found places that they can't landfill it because the landfills have basically been closed to them. They're not allowed to use it for anything in particular because it might have some treated timber or engineered wood products in it, and their only solution is to truck it, 100, 500, 1,000 kilometres away to another facility. So it is a real problem, and it will be something that we will be diving more into in the future.
Sorry, we do have one more question last question from Hannah. She just asked how we would envisage the best way for small businesses to utilise the map.
Do we have any details about, is she talking about a small
business?
Resource or a small solutions provider? I guess they both would have the ability to use the map, finding either a solution near them or or resources near them. If they're in the circular economy space, then it might be something that they can use to actually locate a facility in the future. Don't know if that answers your question, Hannah.
Just get in touch with us if you have very specific question with example or something. We should be able to help.
From a construction point of view, yeah, great. If you can just send us an email, that'd be great, Hannah. Thank you. That looks like us, 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Again, thanks everyone. We really had a good discussion and good session. So thanks for your participation. And yeah, get in touch if you see a value and need any other info from us. Thank you, team.
Thank you.
Bye.